very good evening and welcome to the Estrella Galicia Post Show. The Mio Visla Pro Portugal wraps up another big day of competition here at Ribeira de Ilhas. She hasn't let us down once again. The surf on tap all day, providing plenty of opportunity for our athletes from both men and women's division. It's big performances going down, huge scores right up until that last heat of the day. A lot to unpack in the Estrella Galicia Post Show, and helping me, Paul Evans, do that. Alongside me, Ben the Space Ghost Monday and Peter the Condor Mel. Guys, we've done a lot of talking today, so I'm going to kind of keep this a little bit simple. I'm going to simplify this a little bit. I'd like one word, one key thought you take away from the day. First, Ben.
Clutch.
Clutch. Don't wear it out.
Don't wear it out.
Can I use 2 words?
Go.
Action-packed.
An action-packed day, absolutely. We've seen some massive performances. Ribeira de Ilhas, she'll go through, sort of change through those tidal swings throughout the day. It's been a real dynamic playing field, guys. How do you think overall our surfers have kind of read these conditions and surfed according to the criteria dealing with that?
Yeah, well, on the whole, really well. I mean, the high tide came in and caused some problems. It was a little bit more lumpy, but we saw guys like Nat Young, for example, who just dealt with that high tide and the bump, still got some massive scores, and then as the tide went back out, you just saw the surfers adjust and just really put it on the line.
Pete, I know you've been pretty impressed with the way the judging's been going. That's something that consistently, particularly, something that you've really liked.
And I've also been dissecting it by heading into the judges' booth and making sure that I see how it works, because it's important to me just to understand. There's 5 people on the panel there. You know, there's this vibe of like, oh, it becomes like one person, right? But it's not. It's 5 individuals. There's a head judge. There's a priority judge. There's also a spotter, and they all work kind of in unison. And then there's even the replay specialist. So all of that has to work, but they're all individual scores. And that's what I love about it, is that they are basically giving their own scores. It's not like the head judge is going, yeah, I thought that was a 7.5. You guys better think the same thing. That's not how it works. It's awesome.
All right, well, a lot of big moments to pick out from today, but of course we have narrowed those down to 5. We've got our top 5 moments of the day. We're going to roll those and talk you through them. And first of which, Ben, let's think about Vahini Fierro and an impressive performance from the Tahitian.
Yeah, she's just, every time I see this young woman surf, she's improving, she's getting better. She loves right-handers. She was on record as saying that that's her favourite type of surfing, and this one, the conditions were great in the morning, and the timing of this wave was really spectacular. She didn't do any check turns, a little bit of a bog there, but then she recovered really with this last one. So steep, cracked it up high. She's a smiling assassin. She comes out all light and bubbles and grins, but I'll tell you what, once she puts that singlet on, she's just a gnarly competitor as well. And this was great surfing by one of the real young prospects coming up in women's seeing, in an 8.67, and yeah, well deserved.
Moment number 4, we saw Nat Young and Thiago Camarão. Pete, they took down this guy right here, Italo Ferreira. Bit of an upset.
They sent him out of the water, literally, halfway through the heat.
He just gave up.
He gave up. It was crazy, right? I mean, and I think that it was difficult conditions at this point. It slowed down. There wasn't a lot of sets on offer. It had high tide, it had warbles, but you know what? Nat Young, he found his waves. He got good scores. He was able to do it. Thiago Camarão, he was there as well, pushing it, and all of a sudden Italo said, I'm done. You guys can have it. I'm getting out of the water, which is pretty surprising, to be honest. I mean, you think about what he's been able to do on any, you know, he had a pair of 5s, but he just didn't like what was happening out there, so he left early.
I mean, I thought about that myself a few times in the day, but I stuck it out. I'm still here doing the post show.
Moment number 3, we talk about this crew of young Americans, and one of the outstanding ones today was this lad here, Cole Hushman.
Yes, Hushman is awesome.
Yeah, he's awesome, and he's getting better and better, I think. He's just added a level of maturity and a level of composure to his surfing. I think probably even 2 years ago, he was quite young, he was making a few mistakes. He's got rid of those mistakes, and what he's got is this really smooth, powerful style. So you put those two together, a better comp head and that talent and a bit of confidence. And I'll tell you what, Pete, you've seen him grow up, and friend of your son, he's so impressive, isn't he?
He is. You know, he ended up with a 14.67 heat here, which was a massive 2-wave total. We saw a lot of scores lifting his point totals throughout this event. This was one of the best in the early stages, especially in these difficult conditions. It was still kind of bumpy and lurpy and high tide, but he was able to navigate it well, you know, and it came down to his backside hooks, you know, and every time he got an opportunity, he threw it up there. And of course, he was pretty happy about that as well.
All right, well, our moment number 2. I'd like to talk some Sammy Pupo, of course, took out this event in its former guise as a 10,000 on the qualifying series, and he looked like carrying that form over here today. He was really impressive.
He surfed a different spot today. I mean, somehow his waves, all of a sudden, look how smooth and pristine they are. I mean, he was able to find these waves that no one else had. Everyone else was just like dealing with moguls and bumps and ice bricks and, you know, rocks. He just had this nice, smooth, he made it look really easy.
Yeah, and his biggest career result ever was here. He's had a little bit of a dry patch in sand, but once he gets back in here, he's just right in the zone, fins out. He's really electric, sort of got that mix of sort of power and progression. And yeah, there's something about these Portuguese waters just make him feel completely at home. And yeah, what a performance from the defending champion, effectively. Brilliant surfing.
14.90 two-wave total, so another big heat total for him, and that's just building confidence.
Number 1 moment, let's talk about the super heat. Baker, Vast, Ribeiro, Bukium. This one, an absolute smoker.
Barn burner, right? We had the fog delay, took off about an hour, 45 to an hour. We literally couldn't see anything, and all of a sudden, the fog clears, and this heat gets underway.
Yeah, Vasco Ribeiro started off so strong. So this was in the first 3 minutes, and it just looked like he was on point, he was committed, and was like, yeah, well, he's got this sort of nail. But then each surfer just started stepping up, including this man, Koali Vast. He was just so smooth on his backhand.
That was an 8 from Vasco. Then this was an 8.33, slightly better. Just all of a sudden, this inside section loaded up for him. And look at it, he just fades the turn, gets into that section, and just hooks it. Spray flying everywhere. Koali Vast looking solid, you know, and it seemed like these were the two that were going to make the heat, but then all of a sudden, Jackson Baker said, what?
Yeah, and that's exactly that word of the day was clutch, and this was Baker. He did it yesterday when he was needed a wave in the last 2 minutes, and he's done it again here, and he's got the moustache.
You see him, he actually like kind of grooms it too when he's about ready to talk.
He's got the mo, and a really cool story where he recently lost his mum, and he's wearing his boards are pink in her memory, raising awareness as well. So it had that little emotional heft to it. And when he got this wave, well, I'll tell you what, you have to be a cold-hearted surf fan not to shed a little tear when this went down at the end.
So cool.
Jackson Baker, big story from him. Just absolutely smashing it. Look at that emotion there. He loves it. He loves it. We loved it too. It was highly entertaining stuff. That was our penultimate heat of the day. Of course, our thoughts now turn to EDP Ride of the Day. For men and women on the women's side, it's impossible to look past Vahine Fierro, Pete.
You couldn't, you know. And this was neat about this one was that the women's were a little sleepy early. We weren't seeing a lot of big point rides. All of a sudden, Vahine gets out there, and she just goes bananas. The 8.67 was definitely the ride of the day for the women. It was just clean and super easy for her to surf. She timed all of these great maneuvers with aplomb, as we would say.
Let's take a look at the EDP Ride of the Day for the women. Tahitian, highly rated in a variety of conditions, no slouch at all at Ribeira Dilias, and we're just enjoying getting another look at this.
Yeah, we just thought it's worth a double take because she just so smooth, overhead wave, one of the biggest waves of the morning really, and all of a sudden she just clicked into gear. She's obviously grown up in Tahiti. She can pack massive chopu barrels, but she's got that real, like Koali Vast, just got that competitive head on her. She loves to compete, she loves to win, and she was dangerous.
And then we talk about saving the best till last. Our EDP Ride of the Day for the men. This man here, Cooper Chapman, last heat of the day.
How
massive
good was this wave?
A great wave. And we could even give this ride of the day to Travis Logie. He's the one that called it off for the fog. He's the one that made the call. And yeah, so maybe Cooper can go and buy Trav a beer because this was really clutch surfing, opening his body up, sort of big calves. He had it all, didn't it, Pete?
They did, you know, and it was one of those waves that kept giving, right? I mean, every time he was off the bottom, he's like, oh, cool, another. I mean, that hasn't happened from start to finish like a wave that we've seen here, and that's why it obviously earned the biggest score.
All right, well, that's going to wrap up a massive day for us down here at Ribeira Dilias, the Mio Visla Pro, just keeping on delivering the swell for us. I'll thoughts turn to sort of peeking at that forecast, just having a little think about it? Peter, we're feeling pretty confident about the way the forecast is shaping up for the rest of the week.
I mean,
the finals coming.
If you think about tomorrow, we are going to see a little decline, so I don't know if we're going to be running heats tomorrow. We'll be down here bright and early, I would imagine, and if it looks fun, I'm sure that Trav, he loves to get a few heats done. I think that'll help him to kind of free up during the swell, which is actually supposed to be around Thursday, Friday, and into Saturday. It'd be tough to look past Saturday for a nice finals day on the weekend. But ultimately, that's up to Trav, right? And Mother Nature, of course.
All right, all of that to be decided. We'll just come back tomorrow morning for a call. 7:35 local time for a call. We're going to send you out with some highlights. We'll see you tomorrow morning, worldsurfleague.com. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you tomorrow morning.
This copyrighted event broadcast is produced by the World Surf League for broadcast around the world and may not be retransmitted, reproduced, rebroadcast, or otherwise distributed or used in any form without the written consent of the World Surf League.